Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Heartflow, my podcast where I, Shayla, your host, will talk about whatsoever I please. Whatever comes to me, whatever is brought to me by my life, or topics from my friends and family, friends mainly, or people that want to drop things in my DMs or whatever that they want me to discuss. And a lot of it is about my healing journey and the process and how that's been going for me since stepping into my career kind of full time. Full time. I say kind of because it's really like part time hours with my son, but I dedicate my time. It's really full time because I have other stuff to do there. But yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in again. As you can tell, if you're watching, my background is different. It is spring break, so my son is with me. You may see him pop in and out here and there. He may even chime in, say a little 1, 2. Mic check, mic check. But yeah, so my background is a bit different. The scene is a bit different here. So I hope you can hear me well, and I hope you can see me well. I hope the lighting is all right for you. The topic that I have for today, for this week, is a bit on the heavier side. It's really on toxic parents. Toxic parents, or parents that abuse substances or have mental health challenges and their children, or the spouse of the children of that parent, the child of the parent, whatever. It was really brought to my attention. This topic was brought to me. And it was a video of a girl at her mom's house. By the comments, it looked like she was like over the age of 18, I think. But it was something that she had dealt with for a long time. But the mom was drunk, and she came in like cussing her out and like trashed her room. And she trashed her room. She was cussing her out. She was talking, and one of her comments was that she was a mistake, or she shouldn't have had her, or something along those lines, right? And it was a very volatile type of situation. You could tell the girl was hysterical, or she was crying, or you could tell she was crying. She was even, and it looked like she was like backed away, almost in a corner or something like that. Like telling her mom to get out of her room, pretty much. And it is very unfortunate because no one should have to deal with that, especially not children. I know she wasn't a child, but I'm sure this didn't just happen when she was 18 and all of a sudden her mom changed. But it's very unfortunate that children have to deal with parents that abuse substances or are mentally unstable. Anyway, I've heard a lot of people who have dealt with parents who have mental health challenges, and family members, there was like no step in, right? There was no trying to help the child or get the child, or even if it's for a few days out the week or anything like that. And that is what sucks. Like, why aren't there people to step in and help the children of these parents? That is like one of the things, because for me, I tried to write out a couple of things that I think would be helpful or that I wanted to go over with individuals in these situations, or if you know anybody in these situations, or just something to ponder. But like, the first thing is to get out of the situation if you can. And I know that can be hard depending on what you have already seen and what you have already witnessed. It can be challenging because at a certain point of experiencing trauma, you begin to become blind to that parent. Sometimes you become, okay, yes, you become blind to that parent, especially if it's just them. You can become blind to that parent, or when I say blind, I mean like overlooking things or ignoring things, choosing to just not see their behavior. And it does depend on the extent of the abuse, right? Excuse me, or the trauma, the abuse. It does depend on that. You can either become blind to it, or it becomes like a Stockholm type of situation for you, because how you ain't getting out the situation, so you might as well become okay with it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Or it's just like total, you run away and you disconnect totally, right? But an elementary child more than likely won't run away. But yeah, so the first thing I would say is to get out if you can, which that makes it difficult when you are underage, because what options do you have, right, as a child? And that's where I don't understand why other family members would stick around or turn blind to that type of behavior, or to turn blind to that abuse, and not remove the child or the children from that situation. I don't understand it. It can be they don't want to cause trouble, or they don't, want to stir the pot, or they don't want to be offensive, or they don't want to turn their back on family, or those type of things. But there's literally a child involved, or children involved, and you as the adult, there has to be something that you can do to help out, to somehow remove the kid or children from the situation. And moving forward, or moving through that, is much more difficult being in the home still versus being out of the home. If you are in the home, just like in any situation, if you are in an abusive, very toxic or traumatic situation, it's very hard, or it's way more difficult to heal while still there versus being out of it. It's not impossible, but it is very, very difficult to do, because it's as if you are trying to heal a wound while it's still bleeding, or heal a wound and like the bandage keeps getting ripped off, and heal the wound while the wound is getting bigger, or something like that, right? Because you're steady in the situation. So the process would be way, 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 or so much more slower than it would be if you were outside of the home. Not impossible, but so much more difficult. But the next step, or the next thing I would suggest, would be for you to, or them to, no longer be blind to the behavior, and really, really see the parent for who they are, and not expecting them to change. A lot of times, I believe we expect, or we hope for people to be different, and that is where we get tied up or stuck. because we see that they can be great, or we want them to be great. But that's not even where they are, or that's not even what they have the capability to do or ability to do. They don't have the ability to be great. And they don't want that for themselves, right? So we have to recognize where we're placing them for ourselves, right? Where we're placing them, and potentially grieve that. Because if it is a parent, they're not going to be the parent that we hope, or that we see, or that we want. We see parents be great in other people's lives, right? But that's not the parent that we get. So we have to grieve the idea that we have. We have to grieve that hope, and we have to let that go and see them for exactly who they are showing up to be. They are showing up as someone that is doing drugs, someone that is extremely toxic and unhealthy, someone that does not want better, someone that is not choosing better, because at a certain point it is a choice to continue down the path that you're on. Not mental health issues are ever, even more so specifically like schizophrenia and things that are the ones that are literally chemical imbalances that you need medication for. Those you need to go see somebody and get some medication for, to help you at least stabilize, to be in your right mind, to be able to say, I want better. Like, there's steps to these things, right? And that can be a difficult process and a difficult journey for them. And that's a journey that they have to go down. Like, they have to make up in their minds that that's what they want to do. There's absolutely nothing a person, a child, a spouse, family members, nothing can say or do to make someone choose to go down the path of healing. That has to be their choice, hands down. If not, they will continue to relapse. They will continue to fall off the wagon. They will continue to make the choices that will land them back in the places that they have been in. They have to have the reasons for themselves that keep them on the path of healing. If not, they're not going to stay there. Unfortunately, nothing that loved ones will say will get them on that track. They have to see the value within themselves to do it for themselves. You know what I'm saying? So no longer being blind to their behaviors, and no longer being blind to who they are and what they're presenting themselves as, and actually seeing them for their behavior. And that can be hard to do because, they're your parent. And a lot of times we don't want to see our parents in a bad light, right? But that's where they are. And continuing to paint them as candy and roses and sweet, nice people, or continuing to give them ways out and excuses for their behavior isn't going to do anything but prolong your healing process and prolong your ability to move through healing for yourself, because there is some residue within you with seeing that behavior and seeing that level of toxicity. So yeah, not being blind to it, and then and grieving who you hoped for them to be, letting that go, grieving who you wanted them to be, who you wanted, which can be challenging, right? But it is necessary. What's up, Papa? Oh, your eyes are looking so glossy. You sleepy? You are.
pee.
You need to go pee?
Yeah.
Okay, go pee. And then also, I think I stated this, but not expecting anything other than what they present, right? Not expecting changed behavior. Letting that go. Not expecting them to be any different than who they are. Don't expect change. Like, don't expect a coherent parent. Don't expect a parent that will choose their children over substances. Like, don't expect them to be in an emotionally intelligent space when that's not even what they've presented, right? See them as exactly what they've presented. Because when we have an expectation of something that they don't even do, we are letting ourselves down.
It's done. Well, it's done here.
Huh? We're letting ourselves down when we are expecting something that they've never even shown us before, all because we want that from them, right? And then you will also need to work on you. Work on you. So going to therapy, finding, I'm going to just say a therapist. Okay.
Yay.
And also allowing grace for yourself to heal those areas of you. Because in some way there's going to be effects of that trauma, that type of trauma, that type of toxicity has shaped your brain differently from being in that experience. Your brain has now changed, and you will need help with rewiring your brain back to some type of normalcy, to where you are not on high alert in situations where you are unable to regulate your emotions, you're unable to calm yourself, getting back to a place of calm and finding that place of calm and getting, or not even getting back to, but getting to, because that's the case for some people as well, but getting to a place of calm and being able to calm yourself and regulate yourself and not being on constant high alert, not being able to or not being constantly overstimulated, and finding your own sense of self and becoming solid within you. That is going to take time, and that is going to take therapy. Definitely. Trauma affects the brain in a way that you are unable to rewire that without some extra help. Someone that can connect pieces for you. Because trauma can also create blind spots in your memory where you are unable to remember certain things. That's why flashbacks happen. That's why we have sometimes dreams of things that seem so real. Panic attacks, anxiety, all of that can happen because of trauma. And you will need someone that is experienced or knowledgeable enough to help you sort through those things. Well, another question that was attached to this was, how do we honor a mother or father who acts in this way, who is toxic, who displays toxic behavior, or abusive behavior at that, right? And I was really trying to think on this, and I was really trying to see how that would be possible, right? Because even if your parent isn't at this extent of toxicity or abuse, it can still be difficult to honor a parent that still is in some way, still in some ways displays a level of like emotional immaturity and does things that may cause you to question your identity, question yourself, that can plant seeds of self-doubt, plant seeds of insecurities and low self-esteem and different things like that, right? That's not emotionally supportive. You know what I'm saying? So, but how do you still honor them, right? And which was a thought that crossed my mind some time ago on honoring and respecting parents that you don't like, right? You don't like them for different reasons. You know what I'm saying? But how do you do that? And so I was thinking on it, and I was looking at the definitions. So the definition for honor is high respect or great esteem. And then the definition for respect is deep admiration. And I'm still trying to chew on this, but I'll throw it out there to see what you guys think of it. What I was thinking was, you could admire the position. I wrote this down. You could admire the position, but not the person holding it, right? So, or you can honor, respect the position, but not the person holding it. So even what comes to mind is, because I saw this somewhere, not with this specific example, but I saw this somewhere. Somebody said this. But even with the president, right, you may not respect the person that's holding the position, but you respect the position itself. So in respecting the position, there are things that you may adhere to or follow because of the title or of the position, right? The person, no, but the position, yes. Are you tracking with me? That's what I was chewing on, and I do want to know what you guys think about that, or how you guys feel about that, because to a certain extent, I believe that to be true, but I also kind of feel like I'm trying to like weasel my way like in there or out of there somehow. I don't know. I'm trying to give it, because as Christians, we are supposed to honor our fathers and mother, right? It also says that they're not supposed to provoke their children, right? But still, our part is to honor our father and mother. How do you do that when they are these type of individuals? Is it possible to, okay, Papa, is it possible to respect the title of parent and do the things necessary as children of the parent, right?
And why watch?
Do the things that
Do the same and at home.
Children are asked to do.
I can do.
Excuse me. Children are asked to do.
Let me check it all.
To the extent that it's not like harmful, or it's not like abuse, or those things, you know. Because that's what's being asked of you. And I don't know. I'm still chilling on it, right? Because as I sit here and I think on it, because as you begin to like see the person for who they are, right? The hope behind that is you deal with what's coming up for you, right? The hurt that's coming up for you, the anger that's coming up for you, the sadness, the grief that's coming up for you as you begin to hold this picture of who they are and who they won't be for you, right? So you're grieving these things that you begin to notice that happens for you. And as you heal through this or process through those things, the hope is you get to see, or you begin to see the person behind that, the person behind their actions or their behavior. And then that's where compassion comes in to play, right? Not moving straight to compassion and not moving straight to grace, because there is a part of that where you need to be able to experience the emotions that are coming up for you, the loss that's coming up for you. But as you process through that, the question is, now giving you an example, a question that may come up is like, dang, like, what does it take for a person to exhibit the things that they are exhibiting? Like, dang, they must be going through or have dealt with so much to continue to cause so much pain to other people, or they must be holding on to so much, or dealing with so much mentally, emotionally, for them to exhibit the behaviors that they're exhibiting, right? Which can lead to compassion for them. And with those with mental health challenges, that's tough, right? And it's still like, dang, what all is going on in their minds for them to do so much harm, or for them to exhibit the behaviors that they're exhibiting, right? And then there's grace, and then there's compassion. So with that grace or compassion that it can be extended, is where you can respect or honor the title. Maybe not the person, but you can respect and honor the title that they hold, and then give grace and compassion to the person. I kind of like that. I'm kind of sitting with that, and I'm liking that. I'm liking that bit of it. But it takes a lot. It takes a lot of seeing. It takes a lot of not being blind to them. It takes a lot of not expecting them to change. It takes a lot of healing your own self and processing your own things to be able to even get to a place of grace or compassion. You just jump into grace and compassion, ignoring what's going on to you, is not helpful, because you're not being true to you. You're not being true to what's actually happening within you. Then you have resentment and all these feelings, and you're like, why do I feel this way? Or why am I lashing out like this? Or why do I have all this anger? Because you're not dealing with what you're actually expecting, or you're not dealing with your hurt behind the situation. So yeah, I would say to see, not be blind, to see it, to process what comes up for you, the hurt, the anger, the grief, really see that, really deal with that with the therapist. And then deal with your own things, how it has affected you in ways, how your brain has changed in ways. Really deal with that in therapy. Not expect any change for them. Expect them to be exactly who they are. Deal with that in therapy. And then hopefully what comes next is compassion and grace for the individual, while respecting the title that they hold for you, or for whatever it is. Respecting the title that they hold, right? This is a short one, again, because my child is here and I gotta do mommy things. But I still wanted to get this episode out. I don't know how I'm about to chop this up, y'all. I don't know how I'm about to edit this video. But I will. If you have any questions, comments that you would like to if you have any questions, you can always DM me on Facebook and Instagram at My Heart Speaks LLC. And you can drop me a DM. You can always put a comment in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. And I do want to know your thoughts around this topic. If you want me to dive deeper in some areas, if you want me to, expound in some areas, I will do that. If you want a different topic, let me know. Thank you so much. My brain is not braining, but thank you so much for tuning in again. Thank you for making it this far, watching and listening. You can always listen on Apple and Spotify if you aren't a YouTube person. But let me know in the comments what you think about this topic and what you think about really honoring your father and mother in the way that I described. Okay, I hope you have a great rest of your week, a great weekend. If you are in Houston, I hope you are enjoying your spring break. If you are not in Houston, I hope you are enjoying your week. Take care.